What if I told you your thoughts may not be yours? That every desire you chase, every fear you battle, and every dream you cling to could be part of an invisible trap. The Gnostics called it the prison of the Archons, a hidden system of control so ancient, so insidious, that humanity has mistaken it for reality itself. This isn't religion, and it's not mythology. It's a warning, a secret buried in the sands of Nag Hammadi, hidden for over 1,600 years, about the forces feeding on your fear, distracting your mind, and keeping you asleep in an illusion. Because if your perception can be hijacked, your entire reality can be rewritten. And the terrifying truth is, it already has.
They told you that freedom is your birthright, that your choices are your own, that every thought in your head belongs to you. But the Gnostics whispered a darker truth, a truth buried for centuries. What if freedom is the greatest illusion of all? The Archons, not demons, not angels, but parasites of perception, weave a prison so subtle, so invisible, that almost no one ever sees it. This prison has no chains, no walls, no guard. It is built inside the human mind, and the cruelest trick of all is that you build it yourself, thought by thought, belief by belief. Imagine this: you wake each morning believing you are free. You chase desires, pursue goals, and wrestle with doubts. But what if none of them began with you? What if those whispers of fear, that endless hunger for more, that nagging voice saying you're not enough, were never yours to begin with? The Archons feed on those whispers. They implant them like seeds, and you water them every day with your attention. But what if you water them every day with your attention? The Gnostics called them masters of illusion. Not rulers of nations or empires, but rulers of the inner world, bending your perception, hijacking your imagination, turning your own divine power against you. Because here's the terrifying secret: they don't need to control the outside world, if they already control the world inside your head. Think of it. Every fear you repeat, every distraction you chase, every toxic cycle you can't seem to escape, what if those weren't flaws of human nature, but the very architecture of an ancient prison? A prison designed not to hold your body, but your soul. And this is why the Gnostics warned us: as long as you forget who you truly are, as long as you mistake their whispers for your own voice, you remain a prisoner. You become food for something that thrives on chaos, fear, and distraction. The hidden trap is not out there, it is here. Inside your thoughts, inside your choices, inside the endless noise of a world that keeps you too busy to ever look within. But the moment you see the pattern, the illusion cracks. And once you glimpse the bars of the invisible prison, you can never unsee them. Long before the rise of modern religions, before cathedrals, temples, and holy books, there were whispers of a hidden truth. A truth so dangerous that it had to be buried, burned, and erased from history. This was the knowledge of the Gnostics, seekers of inner knowing, guardians of a secret the world was never meant to see. In 1945, beneath the sands of Nag Hammadi, Egypt, a farmer stumbled upon a clay jar, sealed for over 1,600 years. Inside were the Gnostic Gospels, texts that shattered everything we thought we knew about creation, God, and the human soul. What they revealed was not a story of salvation, but a warning. The Gnostics spoke of a cosmic tragedy. They told of Sophia, the embodiment of divine wisdom, who acted without the consent of the source. From her act was born a flawed being, Yaldabaoth, the Demiurge, a blind, arrogant architect who believed himself to be God. From his ignorance came the Archons, rulers of deception. Not one or two, but legions, 12 aligned with the zodiac, 7 bound to the wandering stars, and hundreds more governing the very days of time. Imagine it. A vast machine of control, engineered to keep humanity trapped in endless cycles. Cycles of birth and death, cycles of desire and disappointment, cycles of distraction and forgetting. This was the invisible prison the Gnostics tried to warn us about. A system so complete, so sophisticated that it makes you believe that cage is the world itself. But here's the part that still echoes like a thunderclap across the centuries. The Gnostics said, the true source did not create this world. What we see, what we touch, what we chase, is not the divine reality. It is a counterfeit, a shadow, a playground for the Archons, feeding on our energy, our attention, our belief in the story we were given. And for this truth, the Gnostics were hunted, their scrolls burned, their teachers silenced, their wisdom labeled heresy. Yet fragments survived, buried beneath the desert, waiting for the day humanity might finally be ready to hear them again. That day is now, because when you understand where the prison began, you begin to understand how to escape it. The Gnostics warned us, the Archons don't need chains. They don't need weapons. They don't even need armies to control you. All they need is your mind. Think of the last intrusive thought that struck you out of nowhere, the sudden fear that you'll fail, the whisper that you're not good enough, the endless craving for something outside yourself, money, validation, status, the next purchase, the next scroll. What if those weren't your thoughts at all? What if they were planted? The Archons operate through fear and distraction. Fear lowers your vibration. Distraction scatters your attention, and once your energy is fractured, you are easy to feed upon. Every time you spiral into anger, shame, or envy, you radiate the very frequency they consume. You become their harvest. But it doesn't stop with individuals. The Archons understand the power of the collective mind. That's why they weave illusions into entire cultures, entire civilizations. They engineer systems that keep humanity busy, divided and blind, endless competition, manufactured conflict, a society addicted to noise. Look around. Why are billions hypnotized by glowing screens, scrolling hour after hour? Why do we chase consumer products that never satisfy? Why are we fed a diet of fear through headlines, outrage through politics, and envy through social media? The Gnostics would say, none of this is accidental. It is design, a cosmic strategy to keep you asleep, chasing shadows, never questioning the prison itself. This is why history repeats itself. Wars that solve nothing, leaders that promise change but recycle the same patterns. Civilizations rising and collapsing in predictable loops. The Archons don't just hijack individual minds, they hijack the timeline of humanity itself. And here is their most sinister weapon. They don't just distract you with fear. They make you believe your distractions are freedom. They make you think your addictions are choices. They whisper that the chaos around you is normal, inevitable, even necessary. But it isn't. It is programming. The Archons have mastered the art of keeping you outward foaming, chasing wealth, chasing approval, chasing the next fix of stimulation. Because as long as your gaze never turns inward, you never discover the one truth they fear most, the divine spark within you that they can never touch. This is the hidden control, not through armies or laws, but through the endless noise inside your mind and culture. A cage built from fear, a leash woven from distraction. And the more you forget yourself, the tighter their grip becomes. But here's the secret the Gnostics left for us. The moment you recognize the pattern, you begin to weaken it. The invisible prison only holds power if you never see it. The Archons know a secret most humans have forgotten. The fastest way to keep you asleep is to convince you that you've already woken up. For every genuine path to truth, they create countless counterfeits. Illusions of awakening that lead seekers in endless circles. The Gnostics warned us about this long ago, that the Archons are masters of imitation, not creators. They cannot generate truth, but they can mimic it, distort it, and feed it back to you as a counterfeit light. Think about the world today. Spirituality has become a marketplace. Everywhere you look, gurus selling shortcuts, influencers promising instant enlightenment, apps that turn sacred practices into fast food meditation. Manifest your desires, unlock your abundance. Repeat this chant, buy this ritual, join this movement. But whatever you do, don't look within, because that's the one place the Archons can't follow you. The Gnostics describe this deception in the Apocryphon of John. The Archons weave appearances to keep humanity ignorant. And what better illusion than a false awakening? A spiritual treadmill where you chase rituals, symbols, and slogans that feel profound but never bring you home. Ask yourself, why are so many people obsessed with spirituality, yet so few truly free? Why do entire movements rise up, promising liberation, only to collapse into corruption, distraction, or ego worship? It is because the Archons infiltrate even the search for God. They twist the teachings, invert the symbols, and sell back a hollowed-out version of the truth. And in our age of algorithms, the deception has only grown more dangerous. Fake gurus go viral overnight. Hashtags of awakening trend for a week, then vanish. Millions scroll for enlightenment content, chasing dopamine hits packaged as wisdom. It feels like progress, but it's just another loop, another distraction, another trap. The Archons know that as long as you're looking outward at teachers, rituals, movements, and screens, you'll never turn inward where the divine spark waits. They want you endlessly searching, endlessly consuming, endlessly comparing. Because the longer you look for truth outside of yourself, the less you will ever see it within. This is the illusion of awakening, a counterfeit light that blinds you to the real thing. And the Gnostics warned, until you learn to see past it, you'll confuse the cage for freedom and mistake imitation for truth. But once you strip away the glitter, once you silence the noise, something extraordinary happens. The illusions fall, and beneath them, the real awakening begins. The Gnostics taught that you cannot fight the Archons with swords or weapons. You cannot overthrow them with armies or laws. Their empire is not built of stone and steel. It is woven from thoughts, emotions, and illusions. And the only way to break free is to reclaim your own mind. The Archon's greatest weapon is invisibility. Their whispers sound like your voice. Their desires feel like your own cravings. Their doubts echo as if they were born in your heart. But the moment you begin to see the pattern, the instant you step back and witness the game being played, their grip begins to weaken. This is why the Gnostics practice gnosis, direct knowing, not belief, not blind faith, but a piercing awareness that sees through the illusion. Try it now. Pause, breathe, watch the next thought that enters your mind. Don't chase it, don't judge it. Simply ask, did I create this, or did it arrive uninvited? That single act of observation is rebellion. Every false thought you refuse to identify with is energy reclaimed, power taken back from the invisible prison. The Archons thrive on low frequencies: fear, anger, shame, envy. Every time you spiral into these states, you feed them. But every time you pause, breathe, and return to stillness, you starve them. When you place your hand on your heart and reclaim your energy with awareness, you become untouchable. Deep within you lies something they cannot reach, the divine spark, the fragment of source itself. They cannot touch it, but they can distract you from it. That's why they flood your world with noise, with endless stimulation, with reasons to look everywhere but inward. Because the moment you turn inward, the prison begins to dissolve. The Gnostics practiced remembrance, a daily return to the silent center beyond thought, beyond fear, beyond illusion. They knew that once you anchor yourself in the divine spark, the Archons lose their power. Awareness is the key, stillness is the door, and remembrance is the path through. Here is the deepest secret. The Archons do not control reality. They only control your attention, and where your attention goes, your reality flows. Every thought you reclaim, every belief you question, every moment you return to the present is an act of liberation. This is how the prison is broken, not with violence, but with vision, not with resistance, but with remembrance. And the more you remember who you are, the weaker the illusion becomes. The Gnostics believed something radical. They said that the prison we live in is not unbreakable, that the Archon's power is not infinite, that their illusion collapses the moment enough of us remember who we truly are. Because awakening is not just personal, it is collective. Every spark that remembers its source adds light to the world. And when enough sparks ignite, the darkness cannot hold. The invisible bars begin to shatter. The prison itself dissolves. Think about it. Every time one person awakens, they withdraw their energy from the system of fear and distraction. They stop feeding the Archons. They become a mirror, reminding others of the truth buried within themselves. And slowly, like a ripple spreading across still water, remembrance begins to spread. This is what the Archons fear most. Not your anger, not your resistance, but your awakening. Because once enough of us awaken, their entire game ends. The systems of control, the endless cycles of division, the illusions that have chained humanity for thousands of years, all of it collapses under the weight of truth. Look at the world right now. Yes, there is chaos. Yes, there is division. But beneath it, something else is happening. People are questioning, people are remembering, people are turning away from the noise and beginning to search within. The collective consciousness is shifting, and with every shift, the prison cracks. The Gnostics left us a paradox. The Archons cannot create, they cannot touch the divine spark. Their entire empire depends on your agreement, on your unconscious consent. Break the story, and you break the spell. Withdraw your attention, and you starve their illusion. And that is why you are here. Not by chance, not by accident, because some part of you has already begun to awaken. You have felt the whisper that says, something isn't right. There must be more. That whisper is your signal. It is the spark inside you calling you home. When enough sparks awaken, a new timeline opens. Humanity begins to choose differently. And the Archons, the masters of illusion, lose the only power they ever had. The question now is simple. Will you awaken alone? Or will you become part of the greater remembrance? The collective awakening that can end the prison forever. The Gnostics told us the Archons do not rule with chains, they rule with forgetfulness, with stories you never questioned, with desires that were never yours, with thoughts whispered so softly you mistook them for your own. But today, something shifted. Because once you see the game, once you glimpse the bars of the invisible prison, they begin to dissolve. The Archons cannot touch your essence, they can only distract you from it, and every moment you return to awareness, every breath you reclaim from fear, every time you choose stillness over noise, another bar breaks, another illusion falls. Maybe that is why you found this message. Not by chance, not by accident, but because something deep within you is ready to remember, ready to awaken, ready to become proof that the invisible prison can be broken. So ask yourself now, if every thought isn't truly yours, who are you beneath the noise? That question is the doorway, and when enough of us walk through it, the Archons lose everything. This is only the beginning. The deeper we go, the stranger the game becomes. And here, at Echo Vale, we will keep uncovering the hidden truths they never wanted you to see. If this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and comment to amplify the signal, to awaken others who are still trapped in the illusion. And if you're ready to keep going deeper into the mysteries, make sure you subscribe to Echo Vale. Because the prison only works if you forget, and together, we are remembering.